Hey-o, it's Tuesday, and I'm back. I am back. What's popping off out there, people? It is another episode of Homesteads and Homeschools. Today is episode number 46, and you can go find those show notes, of course, homesteadsandhomeschools.com/046. You can also check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/homesteads and homeschools, or you can go to the group, the Homesteaded Homeschool Forum, and you can get in on, some of the show, direct some of the things, tell me who you want to hear on here besides me, and what kind of questions, what all that good stuff. You can get in there and talk about that, or you can go to the Discord server that I have set up. Again, that's the Homesteaded Homeschool Forum, and there's a link to it in the show notes. And from there, you can let me know. Let me know what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing well, what you want to hear more of, what you want to hear less of. It kind of, gives you an opportunity to kind of change things, to steer things around a little bit and have fun, I guess. So my guest today is Miss Maria Miller, and you will hear her homeschool story in a little bit. But before that, I had her on not just because she's a homeschool person, but she's also the creator of Math Mammoth, which is a program, a math program that we use, and it was one that I thought it's on the cheaper side, and why not share it a little bit? And if you don't know what it is, find out a little more today. So enough of me talking and blabbing and telling you things that Maria's going to tell you herself, and let's just get into it. Let's go plant those liver seeds in Miss Maria Miller.
There are 7 ancient pawn shops along the road. I know 7 king daddies you may want to know.
All right, so my guest today is Miss Maria Miller, and I brought her on today to talk to us about a little something called Math Mammoth. Some of you out there may be familiar with that. If you're not, you will be familiar by the end, and you should be familiar with it right now, actually. So anyway, Maria, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to tell us about what you got going on.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Ben.
Yeah, no problem. So, we'll get to Math Mammoth in a minute, but to start, what was your education like growing up? Were you a homeschool kid, private school kid? Did you go to college for education, or what was your education like?
I was in public school for 12 years through high school, and then university for 5.5 years. So it was 17.5 years of public schooling, no homeschooling. All this happened in Finland. So there was no homeschooling there, actually.
Okay. Was that like a legal thing? 'Cause I know, sometimes some places over there, it's a little trickier to do.
Well, growing up, I had never heard of it. So I don't know if it was legal at that point. But now, later, I have heard of just a few people doing it, so it at least must be legal now.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, I forget the country up there. I don't know if it was Sweden or
Finland.
Another one. Well, yeah. I was talking to somebody from someplace. I want to say it was somewhere in Scandinavia up there, but that there was some issues with the homeschooling and pushback, and kind of difficult with the state leaning on things. But all right, so you did that, and what did you go to college for?
Mathematics was my major, and then I took physics too and statistics.
All right, so that math thing has always been been a part of you, I guess.
Well, it wasn't through elementary. It was just in high school when I started thinking about making math the thing. I was influenced, it's kind of interesting. But no, when I was a child, when I was a little child, I wanted to be a nurse because my mom was a nurse. But then in elementary school, I started thinking that I want to be a teacher, an elementary school teacher. And so that was what I was aiming for many, many years. But then there were two teachers that influenced me. And especially it was my first year in high school, which was 10th grade in Finland. The math teacher in that year was always talking about being a math teacher as a good occupation and how they were needed. And I just really liked him and his teaching. And so that was the year when I changed my mind from wanting to be an elementary school teacher to actually becoming a math teacher. I'm going to study math. So it was just mainly one person who is responsible for all this.
Well, I appreciate his influence there. It's interesting how that works. You do sometimes you look back at your education and you remember some of the teachers that were just awful, but there's at least one teacher. Everybody has at least one, I imagine, that's had some sort of positive influence on them. But so did you end up teaching at the high school level for a while?
No, not really. I went to university for 5.5 years and graduated. And during that time, when I was still in university and hadn't yet graduated, they already hired me at the university to start teaching the undergraduate math courses, several of them. And then after I graduated, I did teach in a vocational school. Then also at the university wanted to keep me.
You just still teaching math, just a higher level, I guess. So how did that work? You have a couple kids running around there, right?
There's 3. Yes, they're not little anymore as far as running around in that sense, but the youngest is 9. But yeah, teenagers and a 9-year-old.
Yeah, we have my oldest is 9, so a little bit younger. But did you were you teaching when they came into the picture, or had you moved on to something else at that point?
It was after I got married. Around that time, I was tutoring. I married an American man, and so I was tutoring some families at that point. Moved out of Finland to Latin America. And there I was tutoring these families that were homeschooling their kids, and American families. And so that's what changed everything then, as far as I kind of, up to that point, I was still thinking that, well, I will, teach. I was really trying to get a job as a teacher there. But then I started looking into online work and writing curriculum, because as I was tutoring these children and looking at their books, the curricula they were using, which was some of the typical curricula from the US, that homeschool families often use, those, I just saw a lot of lacks in them. And I was sometimes like flabbergasted, totally, that how can this be so low quality math teaching in these books? I saw some totally blatant errors in them even. But yeah, I think I don't remember it exactly anymore, but I think it was something about the area of a triangle that was just wrong. But in one of them. But mainly it was the lack of conceptual understanding, the way things were presented. It was like this memory type of work, rote memory memorization of things that was just what they were doing, what the books were doing. And the moms were having lots of trouble.
When was that?
Kids,
Well, yeah, parents, we also have some troubles wrapping our heads around like middle school math at times, but what time, you remember like the years when you started seeing this?
This was early 2000s.
Okay.
And I started writing a math website called homeschoolmath.net, which mostly was focused on free stuff, free materials. And that one was online in early 2003. But so I started writing it in 2002, and also started writing these books, okay, to sell. And I got those online then on the same site later in 2003. So this homeschoolmath.net was, it had lots of like, free worksheets and reviews and whatever, different articles, lists of games. So it had lots of free stuff, and then it had the early form of the Math Mammoth books there that I was selling as ebooks, but they were not called that at that point.
Yeah, that's a whole different. Imagine things at that point where. How did we upload that like packages that were that big? I don't know. Were you emailing them to people, or how did?
No, I signed up with this company called Kagi. I think it's Japanese word. I'm not sure how they pronounce it, but it has since then gone under. But anyway, I made these ebooks using some kind of software that I found online and downloaded and bought, and it made this .exe type of ebooks that nobody uses anymore. Things have changed so much in just this. I don't know. It's just like 17 years, but everything changes so fast.
Has that been a hindrance for you trying to stay on top of all the different technological advances and stuff like that? Or have you had someone else kind of step in and help you with that? Or
I've dealt with it mostly myself. Once I switched from that exe format to the PDF, then no, the PDF has been pretty much standard, as as everybody knows. It hasn't really evolved from that. I guess PDF is here to stay, huh? So that has worked well, pretty much.
All right, so Math Mammoth, then. So what is that? What did it become?
You mean just a name, or what?
Well, you had those books, and they've evolved into this Math Mammoth program that you have. And so what is that?
Well, originally I just wrote books on topics like maybe multiplication 1, something like that, or addition 1 or 2 or whatever, or geometry, or they were just by topics. And elementary school math, like grades 1 through 5, they were not, the books were not by grades. I'm just saying that the topics were focused on those grades. But then, okay, there was a company, a tutoring company, that at some point hired me to actually write worksheets for them. And so I wrote worksheets up through grade 8, from 3 to 8, what they needed. And according to Virginia standards. And so then after that, we made an agreement that I could actually sell those. And those are now what you see on the site as the Golden Series. If you go look at Math Mammoth, Golden Series, that's the old work for that tutoring company. But then, as I was selling these books, people started asking that, can you write something for grade levels, a curriculum? And so I listened to it for a little while and thought, no. But, they kept asking. And at some point, I just thought, well, okay, I better do it. They want it, by demand. So I started then working on actually using the existing topical books as a base to write an actual curriculum that went by grade levels, US grade levels approximately.
All right. Nice. So that I'm surprised that they let you keep those worksheets. I would think that they might want to.
Well, we're still sharing profits up to this day, so it is just an agreement.
Yeah.
Joint ventures are done all the time.
Yeah, good deal. All right. So, and it is right now. Is it K through 8 or is it 1st through 8?
1st through 7th is the but I wrote the 7th grade as kind of like a hybrid type of thingy where it's a pre-algebra program. So after that, the student can go to Algebra 1, which typically is taken in 9th. So
right,
yeah,
right. And did you add something this past year? Did you add a grade or something? I feel like it changed because we've used the program for 2 or 3 years now, 3 at least, maybe 4. But I feel like you added something maybe. I don't know.
Not the grade level, but we've been working on something called skills review workbooks, which are just supplemental practice. that matches the curriculum exactly. As topics are added through the year, then those topics appear in those skills review worksheets. Maybe that's what you mean.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Must be.
My son is in fourth grade, so we just picked up the fourth through, I guess, seventh package.
Bundle, yes, okay.
The bundle this past time. So because you have it broken down into 1 through 3 and then 4 through 7, correct?
Yeah, that's just for selling the digital version. If people want a discount, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can get it year by year, but it is. It's cheap enough that you just buy the whole bundles and you're all set, and it's been very useful. When you wrote it, so you were writing the worksheets with Virginia standards in mind, right? Is that what you said?
Well, that was only for the ones that went to that tutoring company, and that became the Golden series. Yeah, only those.
All right. So when you putting together the bulk of the Math Mammoth program, then did you look to any sort of U.S. state standards or wherever? Or how did you what did you use to base your content on? Just your knowledge of the field to this point, or?
That's a good question. I'm trying to remember. Of course, there came the point of Common Core standards later on, but originally, I remember that there was no way to use any standards because there was so many standards floating around, so it was like impossible overall. I think I looked at some of the other books, curricula, and I looked at some lists of standards here and there, and then I just went with my own ideas somewhat because, there was nothing to base it on as such.
Now, do you use the Common Core standards now a little bit, or?
That was, I think it was back in 2011. They had been, talking about them for a few years, and then it was in the very end of 2011, I finally took a look at them, actually reading through them, thinking that, should I do something about these standards or not? Because, if every state actually, because in 2011, it was looking like that every state was gonna adopt them, okay? I know it has changed since, but back at that point, it looked like, okay, all states are gonna adopt it. So that looked to me like, well, okay, I should go along, right? Because how else? But and then there was all these problems, but but anyway, so in 2011 I did make a decision that yes, I will revise it so that it will meet those standards. So that took me those several years, and my initial impression though on the standards was just reading through the standards, not the politics, was that the my curriculum already actually was meeting a lot of them without me ever knowing about them. And so it was like it wasn't a really big change.
Right. That's not, yeah. You'd think that a good program would already, because a lot of these standards I feel like are good teachers, good programs are already implementing them. Those standards are already kind of baked in. And now it might not be spelled out like it is, in the Common Core standards or on the lesson plan that the teacher writes up, but it's still there. So, and I have seen that with some of your stuff. I know, you can kind of see some of the standards coming through there, but, I don't know. Anything that you found, curious about putting it all together? I mean, how has it been marketing the program out?
Marketing is the part that I don't care about. So it's been, I think, marketed a lot by word of mouth. I think lots of people being doing that for me. So thank you, everybody, whoever has done it. But yeah, I've done a little bit because you have to do a little bit, I guess. You're supposed to, right? I mean, get the word out a little bit. So I bought advertising a little bit here and there. Usually it's though that the advertisers just email me. They do email. They send emails to all the curriculum owners. They are active. So I don't have to be in that sense. They come to me.
Yeah, that's nice. That's good. I imagine, and it's for being as cost efficient as it is. I mean, you look at some curriculums and they're super expensive, and yours is very, very well priced, and it I've seen it float around from different places. I can't recall how we found out about it, but I've seen it mentioned and talked about all over. So it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, reminds me, one particular marketing strategy has been the reviews, like bloggers writing reviews. I have kind of focused on that more than, say, just buying ads in magazines or whatever, because the magazine ads are expensive.
Yeah, I feel like I can't remember the last time I actually looked at like a magazine ad and went onto the internet to find it later. If I'm on Facebook and I see it there, then I'll go look at it. If I'm on, but I got to change mediums and forget it. But change gears a little bit here. You have 3 kids, you mentioned, and they are all school age, right? Your oldest ones are in high school. Is that correct?
Yes, the 2 oldest are 14 and 17. Yes, they are in high school.
All right. Now, and I know you mentioned that they're not. You didn't necessarily homeschool them. Is that right?
Well, no, I did homeschool them up to high school. Well, the youngest one is still, of course, not in high school. But anyway, these 2 oldest ones, yes, they were homeschooled until high school, and then they've been in an online high school called Whitmore Online High School. So they are just enrolled there now.
All right. And what does that provide you now that you've kind of put them in that online school? What does that get them, or what is that? I don't know. I guess why did you choose to take that route, or I don't know. I'm kind of, you know what I mean? Like, what differences are there that are there? Are all their classes kind of online? Are they? How does that work?
This particular school works. Well, they have lessons online, and then you have to typically write answers to questions or write essay type answers, and then the teachers check the work and give pointers and ask the students to revise the lessons as many times as necessary until the teacher is actually satisfied with the student's answer. So this is not one of those online high schools where you just get graded and you're done with the lesson, but you have to correspond with the teacher several times over the lessons. So it's a mastery based and lots of writing assignments. The teachers really get into it, and so I really like it. So okay, my reasons for this was, well, one was that I wanted more time, because you're trying to run a business. So
yeah.
So anyway, that's one reason, but also because I didn't feel in myself totally adequate to teach, in particular, English. And being from Finland. So and then there was also the reason that sometimes I felt in homeschooling it's so easy for things to get kind of lax, that you don't have to start at 8:00, or I know people try to have a good routine, but you're at home, so you don't necessarily want all that stress of trying to cram everything time-wise into some kind of a form. And so then I was wishing for something a little bit more formal for these girls, for a few years now, and to be responsible to somebody else, to learn, so it's not just mom and you can just kind of be lax about it. If I don't know if you know that, but I've talked to some other people who have noticed this tendency that home is like a relaxed place. So it's good, but I don't know. I was just wishing for a little bit more of a balance, that they learn to a little bit work for some outside
Yeah.
authority. You know.
Yeah. Recognize that it's something else out there. There's definitely times I cut the kids a little bit of a break, a little slack when someone else might not, and I probably should not, but can't help myself, I guess. So that school, is that like a private school then?
Whitmore school. I don't know. You can Google it. I don't know. They have hundreds of students from all over the world. I'm not sure if they.
Yeah, because I know, like, in some states, I don't think it's county level, but I think some states will offer like an online high school program, and it's just the same thing as the public school, but it's done online so a kid can stay home. And I didn't know if it was like something like that or something that was different, but it sounds like if they have students from all over the world, then it's probably something a little more private, a little more, the classes and whatnot are up to the discretion of that school as opposed to state standards. But so, and you're happy with that, Whitmore there?
Yes. Yes, because of the mastery principle they are using, and the teachers are corresponding so much with the students.
How was that for the girls then, making that transition to the online school, going from being home, doing the homeschool thing, to having to respond?
Well, for the middle child, it has been easy because she was watching the older one do it and kind of, following always. She's always following my oldest daughter in everything, just about, watching what she's doing, okay, and copying it. But for my oldest, at first, it was a challenge as far as the time aspect, that, okay, you had a full year basically, but try to pace yourself and get something done, especially the essays. There were some essays that took like over a month, and yeah, I was like pulling my hair out. but this child is a writer. She is excellent. She writes very well. That's her strength, is writing. And so these essays, I don't know, she was like wanting to, I guess, get them to perfection or something, without thinking about the time aspect, that sometimes things need to get done even if you don't get them to perfection or something. But she has learned. She's almost ready to graduate, and things are much better with, as far as getting things done,
Are you think you will do the same thing with your son then?
I'm not sure yet what we will do. Right now, there's a tutor coming to help him with English and social studies. And that's, once again, because I don't feel I can teach English very well, because it's my second language, not my first language. And so there's always things that I don't know about, even how to put the word into syllables. It's such a foreign thing to me in English.
Yeah.
Pronunciation, it's always somewhat off and stuff. So anyway, I'm considering, even for middle school, to try to get some kind of a hybrid thingy where we might use that tutor and some online program for some subject. I don't know, not for math, but yeah, I'm not sure about the high school. It might be the same one, but it might be something different. It's still years away. So.
Yeah. It's scary though. It creeps on fast. The kids are, you turn around and it's like almost middle school. Here we are, and double digits, and But
yes, exactly. Just enjoy those years if your kids are still, running around little. Enjoy, because it's gone in a flash, and they are not running around as little ones.
All right. Any future plans for Math Mammoth? Are you thinking of adding anything or changing anything, or kind of just updates as we go?
Right now, we are actually planning to release, like in a few weeks, a major update for grade 5. which took me like a year to revise the grade 5 during last school year. And so that is upcoming. There's the decimal chapter has been broken into 2 major changes there, and some lesser changes for grade 4. As far as going towards the future, I am thinking possibly looking over grade 6 and seeing if I want to revise something there. Then we'll continue. We still have the skills review workbooks that you were thinking that something new was coming. In that series, we still have the grade 7 to do, me and my assistant working together. And then I am still continually adding videos, editing them. I mean, they have been filmed in the past, but there's still more of those to edit and upload, which is a ongoing process, has been for years. But anyway, there's a few hundred. I think I counted maybe 300 videos available.
Oh man, that's all.
Online. But that's over 7 grades, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's not for every lesson yet.
It's a lot of editing. It's a lot of editing.
Has been, yeah, but it's taken years, and still will take some time. And yeah, we have a few other things in mind as far as something people have been requesting a lot is just a book on word problems. So that's in the plans someday to make that is just a single book, only word problems.
Okay. I can see, I know there's a lot of, when you remember elementary school, my mom teaches or taught elementary school, and, she'll poke her head in sometimes. And it's always, all these things you have to do with word problems to figure it out. And, it wasn't like that when I was a kid. It was like, read the problem and, figure it out, but, I see where kids get hung up. So when you revise, what prompts you to revise, or what new guideline or what thought do you use to revise? I'm an English kid, so I'm familiar with revising like a rough draft on a paper, and I can edit and I can go back and new ideas. With math, it just seems to me like, it's concrete. It's one way or the other. It's yes or no. It's right or wrong. So what do you use to edit or to revise?
Well, the revising usually it has to do with scaffolding it better, as for scaffolding the lesson, so that we maybe go with the concept a little bit slower or break it down into smaller steps yet. And it's typically based on feedback. Now for the 4th and 5th grades, I actually had an editor, to actually go through it and point out to me different places. She actually used this curriculum for 4th and 5th with 2 of her children for a full year and wrote down all kinds of comments. And, well, I paid her, of course, too, for her time. And so those revisions are based on actually that. Okay. And for 6th grade, I'm just trying to do the same on my own, possibly. I don't know. I'm not sure about that yet. But it was a week ago, somebody wrote in, just a customer, said that, okay, we didn't understand this, So when they write it, then I can go back to the lesson and see, okay, yeah, that could be because I'm jumping a little bit too fast from this part to this part, and it could be scaffolded better. That's the term, right?
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. Right on. I appreciate that. And so if people go on to they want to find Math Mammoth, where do they go?
They probably go to Google.
Okay. Do you know the URL? Mathmammoth.com, is that it?
Yes, that's correct. But there's lots of traffic from Google where people typed in Math Mammoth to Google. That's what we all do, right?
Yeah.
Or many of us do. That, even when you know the URL, you just type in or whatever to Google, and then that seems to be the habit. So.
All right. And are you on Facebook or anything else like that, or just yes. The website is pretty much
yes,
okay?
I'm on Facebook and then YouTube. Those 2.
Okay. All right. And I will link to those in the show notes to go check out some of those videos, and keep moving on. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate the work that goes into it and the cost. You have managed to keep it much cheaper than it could be, I think. So thank you. But So I don't know. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Math. Who doesn't love math? I hated math. I was good at math, but I hated it. And as I'm getting older, I don't mind it so much anymore. We use Math Mammoth, and I like it. For my kids, it's fairly straightforward and gives you plenty of opportunity to get involved and figure it out and help the kids along the way. And for the price, it cannot be beat. So if you're not using it, you need a math program, go check it out. And the links to all that will be in today's show notes, homesteadsandhomeschools.com/046. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that the Christmas season is upon us, that the other gift-giving holidays are upon us, and you're going to be buying gifts. So go to homesteadsandhomeschools.com/Amazon, click through the affiliate link, and help me out. We get a little kickback, and it doesn't cost you anything at all. And of course, you can always go to patreon.com/thelibertyhippie and sign up for as little as I think $2.50 a month. Might even be less than that. And there's some bonus content, some extra interviews. I can give you. I'll take your recommendations for the show more seriously if you pay me for them. Why not, right? Anyways, go check it out. It does help things. This is not a free adventure, and it's nice to be able to make it closer to zero than in the red. Anyway, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have suggestions as to other curriculums that you would like to hear talked about or discussed on the show, let me know. I've reached out to a few. I've gotten some answers back, some answers not so much, but let me know what curriculums you want to hear more about, and I'll see what I can do. And if you have any ins anywhere, poke them with a fork and tell them to come on the show and do this. You guys enjoy yourselves, enjoy your week. Vacation is coming up soon. Vacation for you, not for podcasting though. Podcasters don't vacation. We can't. Always, all the time. It's all the time. All the time, right? Unless you record shows and edit them and line them up to go beforehand. Anyways, folks, I hope you all have a wonderful week. You're staying warm if that's your thing, or you're plowing snow, whatever it is you're doing this week. I hope it goes wonderful for you. And of course, as always, remember to get out there and sow those seeds of liberty so we can all reap sheaves of freedom together.